Today, we take you to America's first public sculpture garden. It's 9,000 acres and it's a National Historic Landmark. We are talking about the one and only Brookgreen Gardens.
This is Charleston Women Podcast, where you can meet like-minded, strong, independent, professional, and inspiring local women. This is Charleston Women Podcast.
Now I would like to welcome to the Charleston Women Podcast President and CEO of Brookgreen Gardens, Page Kiniry. Page, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? This is terrific to be invited. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, Brookgreen is one of my favorite places, just a little bit of a drive up the road from Charleston. But we have a lot of, new people coming to Charleston, a lot of new people listening to the podcast. So for those who are living under a rock and don't know about Brookgreen, fill us in and all the wonders that it has to offer.
Absolutely. Yes, our area really is growing. And of course, we see so many tourists that love to come to the Charleston area, the Myrtle Beach area. So we are a tourist destination, but a wonderful spot for locals to explore as well. So there are 4 mission areas of Brookgreen. I think a lot of people know when they pass by those beautiful stallions at the entrance, we are a sculpture garden. But our missions include the horticulture. So we have some award-winning horticulturists here, a real focus on native plants, but also some, the beautiful semi-tropicals that live in this area. And then we've got, of course, the art. They have 250 sculptors and 450 sculptors and 2,000 works. So it is the largest collection of American figurative sculpture in the world. We're very proud of that. It is a history that was established by our founders, the Huntingtons, Anna and Archer Huntington. And the other piece of that story in the 4-part mission is actually both relate to them. One is the history. So the history of the property since the Huntingtons purchased it, but also the history as a former rice plantation and all the way back to the Native Americans, the history that's interpreted here. So it's a very much a Lowcountry story, and we have a Lowcountry History Center where we tell a lot of those stories. And then, of course, throughout, you'll see information about the Huntingtons and their founding. And then the last piece is the zoo. So we protect about 9,000 acres of property and longleaf pine primarily. So we work a lot with forestry and endangered species habitat for species like the red-cockaded woodpeckers. So the Huntingtons founded this. They knew that they were protecting this property from future development and as an environmental asset and sanctuary for wildlife. But also Anna sculpted from live animals. So she kept animals as a zoo. And we have a beautiful native wildlife zoo here called the Lowcountry Zoo. We have an area near that also focuses on animals and heritage breeds from South Carolina that would have been used historically. So there is something for everyone at Brookgreen.
There really is. And, I've been going there for years since my kids were little. I know we went out for like a butterfly picnic and we really enjoyed that. We've gone through the zoo, but since you have arrived, you've really kind of been strategic, right? And you've added some new events. One of those, which is the night, Night of 1,000 Candles. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
I have not been to that. So tell me more.
Oh, it is our signature event. It's a fundraiser that goes through the month of December, and we have a preview that starts on the 20th. Okay. So that is a really special opportunity to see it with a limited number of people, food and wine included. It's a very elegant evening for that preview event. And then after that, the day after Thanksgiving, we begin our regular Nights of 1,000 Candles, which is there really are no words to describe it. And when you see images, they're beautiful, but they really don't give you that immersive feeling of walking, the historic gardens. So, a choice of about 50 acres of wrapped trees, almost 3,000 hand-lit candles, music, Our galleries are open, trains. It really is a spectacular celebration of the holidays and a really new way to see the garden. If you're used to coming to the garden, in beautiful weather and having a stroll, it feels very different to be here at night under these beautiful lights, cup of cocoa or a glass of wine in your hand, really getting into the spirit.
It sounds fabulous. So is this something you said again, the 20th is when it opens and it goes all the way through the holidays? Is that correct?
Yes, it goes all the way through January. So
through January.
The 20th special night, as we call it, the preview, and then beginning the day after Thanksgiving, and then all from Thursday to Sunday nights through January. And we are not open during the day during that period. We're open on Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays during the day, and then the rest of the time we open later in the evening. You can come and watch the sunset in the garden, and the lights really come to life. There are great food venue options. We have a terrific restaurant here, and then we have a wonderful Lowcountry supper option as well. And I mentioned the hot chocolate. We make the best hot chocolate.
Yes. I didn't know about the restaurant. So for someone who's maybe traveling from Charleston, we've got kids in the car, give us some pro tips. Like, when's a good time to arrive? Should we go and have dinner first before we walk around?
There's so many options. I'd say with children, it's always good to start with food. So, right. And for kids, I think the Lowcountry buffet, it's great. You're outside, you're by the fire pits. It's really a lot of fun. You're near where we do our holiday tree lighting, which is a sing along. So that will really put everybody in the holiday spirit. If you're coming and it's a date night, we get a lot of not only date nights, but I think you could imagine quite a few proposals.
Right.
And people who have very special occasions that they're celebrating. Harvest is our restaurant. It's actually run by the Austin's group. They have Ocean One and the Cabana Cafe, and it is a farm to table type of menu, but they serve amazing wine and incredible food as well. So that's a little more of the upscale.
I'm taking notes as you're talking about when to go with the kids, when to go with my husband. You also, we've talked a lot about the holidays, but you have summer lights, and that's art by night in the summer months. Tell me more about that one.
Well, we have enjoyed as an institution welcoming people into the garden from all over the world for Nights of a Thousand Candles. And during the summer, we have lots of visitors here, but of course it's so hot on the beach. You don't often think about coming and spending time during the day in the garden. But in the evening, there are fewer options for activities and things to do with your family. And it's funny when you were talking about your kids coming or coming as a date. This is definitely an intergenerational place, and we see a lot of family groups. So it's important for us to have a little bit of something for everyone. So those summer lights is the same team that we have at our exhibit designers that are in-house, which is again, something special for us. It's not something that we outsource. It's created in-house. They had so many ideas of things that they wanted to try that involved maybe a little more color or things that were much more fun and festive that really go with making a summer evening special. So those also have music and food. We bring food trucks out. So highly recommend if you're coming in the area or looking at something to do in the evenings. That's the summer times in the evening here at Brookgreen.
That's wonderful that you guys have so much all year round. I want to get a little bit into your background, because before you arrived at Brookgreen, you were the executive director of the Virginia Living Museum in Newport News. How long were you there? What was your role as executive director up there?
I was there for 11 years.
Okay.
So it was an incredible place, and only something as special as Brookgreen would have taken me away, but it's also a hunting. So it comes back to these founders, the Huntingtons, who so generously, Mr. Huntington said that everywhere he put his foot down, a museum would spring up. They were very philanthropic. They had no children. So part of what they did in Newport News, here in South Carolina, their home in New York, their home in Connecticut, they contributed, to philanthropic interests. So when they founded Brookgreen, it was because they knew it needed to be open to the public. And I was looking for a piece of sculpture actually in my previous institution, and the former director, I called because I knew it was an Anna Huntington sculpture, and I said, "This is the place to look for that." And we developed a friendship. And when he decided to retire, he said, "This might be a good place for you." So I feel very fortunate. The best job.
You are. I see you live on Pawleys Island with your husband. I want to know more about Angus, who is Brookgreen Gardens' Scottish Deerhound mascot.
I probably brought him. Yes, he is. He's my roommate. He's great. So the Huntingtons, as we were researching more about them, they're known in AKC and Kennel Club, American Kennel Club world, as saving this breed. In America, they were declining because they weren't being used for hunting, and they had kennels. They're quite spectacular. These, and they were prolific. Hundreds of dogs are descended from them. So Angus is a descendant of their dogs, and he walks a volunteer interpreter twice a day through the garden and talks a little bit about their history, just as a way to connect. And one of the sculptures that Anna Huntington designed, of course, has all the things that they loved that were very special to them. And there's a Angus dog at their feet, a Scottish Deerhound that is a relative of Angus's. So it's a fun way to connect to history. Of course, it's much more interesting to pet a dog and learn about history than it is just to read about it. So it is part of the.
I love that it's living history, that through the lineage that they're all, it's family still.
And he does have his own Insta. So
that was my next question. What is Angus's Instagram so we can give him a follow?
Yes, he's Angus at Brookgreen.
Okay.
And you can follow his adventures around the garden and just, being an adorable dog.
I'm writing it down, Paige. I'm writing it down. I'm going to follow as soon as we're done. I want to go back because to celebrate you a little bit, you might be humble, but you've done, big things. When you were in Virginia, you eliminated $9 million in debt. You added new amenities, including the cafe and amphitheater. So you know what you're doing. You've had a lot of success with strategic planning. Brookgreen, what do you see for the future? You've already added, a new event here. What do you see moving forward? What would you like to do?
Well, we actually have quite a few things underway. Some capital projects that are on the horizon. Many of them we haven't announced yet that we'll be doing that. This is our 90th anniversary year. So we were planning some of these additions around that celebration. I can tell you that we are one of the focal points will be a new studio. We have never had a studio built as a studio here. We're all about recycling, and we've used a lot of older buildings as an art studio. And we have sculptors from residents from all over the country. So we were able to use that wonderful program to springboard into this new facility, which will allow us to have more weekend classes, more drop-ins. So when you come to Brookgreen and you're interested in the sculpture process, you can see a sculpture demonstration, watch a bronze pour, really get an understanding of how the sculptures were made, in this ancient tradition, the lost wax process, which you might have heard of, because so many of our bronze sculptures were created. Well, also conservation center. So that was an important part too. Since we do have this large collection, much of it now, getting on 100 years old, we're the stewards. So we want to make sure we protect that in perpetuity. So that's on the way.
That's on the way. I was going to ask, I know by attending your events, by attending, we're helping funds raise, helping, contribute to those projects. Can we just go to the website and donate? Can we become a member of Brookgreen? What other ways can the community help you reach those goals?
Oh, thank you. Yes, all of the above. We love our members. We have about 12,000 household members, which is pretty large. And There are several levels of membership. Some of them include Nights of a Thousand Candles tickets, so that's always a bonus. And then, of course, donations can be made online. We've got right now a focus for our Giving Day is the Red Wolf exhibit. So one of the additions that we've planned for the zoo is the red wolf, which is one of the most endangered mammals in North America. And that exhibit is going to allow us to participate in a animal conservation program, but a native animal too that we can help keep the population alive. They're down to very few numbers, and most of those are in zoos around the country. So we're working with a species survival plan to help restore that population.
That's great. Paige, what would you say? You've had a wonderful career. You've accomplished so much. It seems like you truly love what you do. What would you say to a young woman who aspires to do something like you've done, follow a similar path, or anyone out there? What inspirational words do you have for our listeners?
Oh boy, that's a tough call. I think it's just follow your passion. As you said, it's so amazing to be able to come to work at a place that itself is so inspirational. And I think, so many women in particular are drawn to careers that make a difference in their community. So it's a variety of backgrounds, but we all approach it. I think it's definitely a business acumen. And despite the fact that this is an arts organization, focus on the good of the environment and the arts, it also is very much a business. And you want to make sure that your background includes, financial management and, understanding marketing and public relations. That's an important part of what we do.
Right. Well, Paige, we thank you for taking the time to spread the word today about Brookgreen Gardens. Paige, is there anything else that you would like to add that I haven't touched upon today that you want our listeners to know?
No, just thank you so much. We invite everybody to come and participate. And it's a special place. Our motto is ever changing, simply amazing.
Ever changing, simply amazing. We're going to close out with that. And I'm coming this year, Paige, to Night of a Thousand Candles. I can't wait. Thank you again for your time. The website is brookgreen.org. And this has been Page Kiniry, President and CEO of Brookgreen Gardens on the Charleston Women Podcast.
Thanks for spending time with Charleston Women Podcast. Please like us and follow us on whatever platform you're using to access Charleston Women Podcast.